I'm now a year into my ownership of the PR7. Though COVID limited travel in the early days, these tyres have now completed around 8,500 kilometres. The tread depths are around 4.5mm on the front and 7mm on the rear. The edges all look good and they've been ridden on just about all surface types and generally performed well. Based on the current rate of wear, these should see me through to about 18,000 kilometres before hitting the legal wear limit. As you can see, the front to rear wear ratio is pretty balanced too. I was hoping to find a tyre that I could use at one pressure for all situations. However, the improvement in performance when using the correct pressure for the terrain and load is impressive and worth changing. I started out on my tyre pressure quest to find out how low I could safely go while still retaining puncture resistance and good wear characteristics. In the process, I've discovered a lot more about the tyre and made my riding easier and more enjoyable. This is the interim table of pressures I've come to use on my PR7 for the many ways I use it. Why so many? Well, that is down to the fact that I use my PR7 in a few different configurations. Because the PR7 is a light adventure stroke dual sport bike, the percentage change to overall weight by adding or removing relatively small loads is quite large and can be felt in the handling and tyre grip. Taking off a 16 kg rear pack is equal to about 10% of the total bike weight, so quite a change in weight distribution. For reference from my daily setup, this is the percentage weight distribution changes I measured for sitting and standing on the PR7. During the 1600 kilometre trip in northern Spain, I was able to test both the on and off-road characteristics of this tyre. The beautiful roads of the Picos Loop, and especially the climb up to the Deer, are the perfect testing ground for tarmac again tyres, with some rough stuff thrown in to keep you on your toes. The 1.9 bar fast road setting was superb on the hot tarmac corners, inspiring ever more lean as the ride progressed. In contrast, the climb up out of Bilbao, with its steep uphill gravel bends, showed just how much traction the rear is capable of. On one particular 250 kilometre riding day, I was on 19 psi or 1.3 bar when we entered a substantial off-road section. After a few kilometres of grassland trails, the road turned into the classic white and red gravel typical of the area. The handling was not great, and after battling timidly for a few more kilometres, at our next water stop I dropped the pressures to 16 psi or 1.1 bar.
So we just stopped for a minute. Mark's letting some air out of the tyres, with loose gravel.
What a difference! The front end was stable and inspired confidence on the fast gravel sections. On one of the loops out of Haro, we traversed a high plateau with a mother of babyhead trails through the heathland. The tyres performed well with no punctures at 16 psi stroke 1.1 bar, by which I'm still amazed. Admittedly, we had dry weather for our trip, but this bike and these tyres took me up rocky climbs I never thought I would be capable of riding. The story on mud, however, is a little different and is still being investigated. I have dropped the pressure down to 13 psi for a particularly wet trip on the UK green lanes. The straight line traction and braking was good, but the tyre still slid sideways with too much ease for my liking. This may be down to my relative inexperience on this surface, only time will tell. For now, I prefer the 14.5 psi or 1 bar setting, as it gives me a firmer feedback. I'm looking forward to more tyre testing in the coming year and hope to come back with some definitive results for the Dunlop TrailMax Mission tyre before winter 2022. I hope to see you on the trails.